especially a game that hits 4 million, boasts 5th highest concurrent Steam players ever. It had a bigger launch than Elden Ring. Game of the year. Didn't Elden Ring win Game of the year? Does anyone have the Twitter thread comparing the Pokemon characters and the other one? Oh my god, these people, I hate these people. I hate these people. Palworld is ripping off Pokemon. Oh wait, that's Pokemon ripping off Dragon Quest. Whoops. Yeah, the difference, of course, is that Nintendo loves to sue. And they have the money to sue. Okay? If you don't care about suing, although did Dragon Quest sue Nintendo ever? Because if they did and they lost, that would be interesting, and I would love to read that court case. Dragon Quest was Nintendo? Is it actually? Oh my. I swear to God, some people, like, sir, you should not be allowed to use Reddit, okay? You're ruining the website. You're ruining it. Motherfucker, you're ruining this goddamn website. Omegaverse update. In April 2018, Blushing Books Publications, publisher of Alpha Claim Series, sent DMCA takedowns alleging substantial similarities. A few retailers removed the book in less than 3 months. Amazon did not remove the book. Ellis, through her company, filed 2 lawsuits. Did they win? Anyways, let's see. I'll be starting with the obvious ones. This one doesn't feel that obvious. This one's this one's pretty bad. This one's pretty bad. Oh, this one's really bad. Oh no, this one they just gave it a new skin. This is like a rare skin. Not quite a legendary skin, but like just a rare version of this skin. This one's also pretty bad. That one looks different. This looks different enough, I feel like. It's copying other things, like there are other Pokemon that have this face, but these two are. This one is real. This is the one that I saw. Oh, and then the Luxray one? I heard this one was removed from the game, though as someone who will not be buying it, I can't confirm that, nor if its similarity to Luxray was why it was removed. This one was very offensive. This one's very offensive. I'm going to say it. There's only so many ways to make an animal and take an animal and gamify it. Yeah, but Pokemon are not all animals. They got like that one trash one. They got that magnet Pokemon, right? Trash Pokemon. Sorry, I'm not a loser, so I don't know all the names of all the fucking stupid ass Pokemon. I'm sorry I didn't memorize 600 Pokemon names, okay? Trubbish. What's the magnet one called? Magnet. Magnemite. Okay, you don't, if you're creating characters, okay, maybe us in our limited creativity with our puny brains cannot come up with original designs, or before someone says it, there's nothing that's original. Everything is derivative. Maybe that we can't come up with something that is different or feels different. More talented artists can, okay? Like, you don't have to make it about animals. The part that makes this game similarities extra sus is the CEO of the company that made Palworld is big on AI, which means they may have actually ripped off Pokemon assets for their monster designs based on the info I found online. The one thing about the AI art that I've seen is that I remember when this game was coming out for a while. And AI art has only gotten good very recently. This game has been in development for over 4 years, 5 years. I don't know that they were using like AI art has only really gotten good in the past 3-4 months. Most of this shit was out way before AI stuff. I think they just stole the designs. All right. Which, like, don't get me wrong. Listen, man, I don't give a shit about Nintendo. I have no skin in the game, okay? I'm not invested in Palworld. I'm not invested in Pokemon. I am a true neutral third party in this case. I was going to say one thing about this. Oh, right. The Lindsay Ellis video. Oh, man, this is an hour long. I don't even know how I would be able to find what I wanted to find. Maybe this section would be, maybe over here. Let's go here.
I could make money off of this. Commercial publication of Omegaverse fiction is said by some to have started with 2007's With Caution by J.L. Langley, but like the overwhelming majority of Omegaverse fanfiction, it centered male-male relationships. The commonality of male-male pairings is the crux—
For anyone who hasn't watched this video, it's a great video. You should definitely watch it. I don't have the energy or effort to watch the whole video. However, for anyone who hasn't seen this video, there's like these authors that make this genre of fiction called Omegaverse. And it's kind of like erotic smut for women. But I think they're like furries. Like they're like werewolves or something. And they have like the alphas of society. And then they have like the omegas and the betas and stuff. And they really love their gay pairings. That's the short version. I'm not going to make you guys suffer.
Of the most batshit copyright claim ever, enter Addison Kane. Now, this is not her real name, but I'm going to just refer to her by her pen name because. So Addison Kane, of course, like so many of us, begins her career as a fanfic writer. She finds her fanfic calling writing erotic The Dark Knight Rises fanfiction starting in 2012, and quickly becomes something of a darling in the fandom. And like E.L. James before her, she starts to think, hey, maybe there's money to be made here. So she pulls her fanfic and begins the process of revising it into something that she can sell. And while we are here, one of the many negative side effects of the infamous popularity of books like 50 Shades of Grey is this presumption that any professional author who so much as admits to having been in fandom is just repurposing their old fanfic. And if they say they aren't, they are probably lying about it. I've seen a lot of people make that assumption about me just because I've joked about having written fanfic in the past. Most fanfic authors who jump to professional authorship do not just repurpose their old fanfic. Naomi Novik, for instance, got her start in the Master and Commander fandom in the early 2000s, so that influence was there when she published the Temeraire series, which is basically the Napoleonic Wars but with dragons. And a lot of people who have read my book can tell that I have spent some time in the Transformers fandom. But these are not just works of fanfiction repackaged for profit. However, there are some high-profile examples of authors doing just—
I had at one period dipped my toes into fanfic, and I just got burned too many times where like the fanfic author just stopped updating it. There were too many good fanfics that I read, and the author would just stop writing it. And I was like, I can't do this again. I can't do this again. I don't even remember what, and no cap, for real, FR, okay? Trust me, if I experience shame, think about all the things I would not have said on this stream. I don't even remember what fanfic I was reading. Genuinely. I couldn't even tell you. And it's because I didn't spend that much time reading it. Doujinshi, on the other hand.
Bad, a practice called filing the serial numbers off. Some authors have found tremendous success with taking their fanfic and turning it into original fiction. 50 Shades of Grey was originally a Twilight fanfic. Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instruments series began life as a Draco fanfic. After was a Wattpad One Direction fanfic about...
Also, I'm pretty sure Twilight was a Book of Mormon fanfic.
A bad boy version of Harry Styles in college. And this is the business model that Addison Kane, erotic Dark Knight Rises fanfic writer, hopes to hit pay dirt with. Now, most publishers reject or ignore her queries, but eventually small indie publisher Blushing Books accepts her manuscript for what would become the first book in a series, Born to be Bound, and the series soon earns over $370,000.
When she grew tamer as the overblown reaction to Force Estrus lessened, she would stay still long enough for him to scent her, for his big hands to rub the that had all over her skin, to it to her as he purred and gave affection.
Damn. So Kane becomes something of a star in the budding commercial Omegaverse published arena, especially, according to Kane, in the MF field, what in the fanfic world is called het, because fanfiction is one of the rare arenas where heterosexual couplings are actually in the minority. But of course, since this genre turns out to be lucrative, she's not the only one doing it. Enter author Zoe Ellis. No relation, because it's not her real name either. Zoe Ellis is the nom de plume of writing for Quill Inc.'s Books, which is a small publisher based in London. Her novel, Crave to Conquer, the first book in
I do wonder what it is about the female brain that desires non-het pairings. Maybe because it feels more foreign and there's no what's the term? There's no reality in that universe, right? Like it is full-blown escapism, and you don't have to remember all the shitty things about being a cis-het straight person in this world and dealing with straight people in this fucking world. Because straight relationships, some cis-het straight relationships are fucking crazy, man. Some of those people, they're just like living in like the worst lives and they just suffer. And they're like, women, am I right? My wife hates me. So maybe it's that. Maybe that's what it is. But I also enjoyed non-het pairings long before I was ever interested in dating. So maybe not. It's hard to say.
The Myth of Omega series is published in 2018. Like Born to be Bound, it is also Omegaverse, also het, and also extremely violent and unpleasant to read, and I don't recommend it.
Do you even like your spouse?
Honestly.
I don't know what I expected.
So not long after, someone approaches Kane and says, hey, this book seems to lift a lot of plot points from your book. I think it might be plagiarism. And of course, Kane does not take this well. Well, Kane's publisher does not take this well. She does not see this as a rising tide lifts all ships scenario, which generally in genres like this it totally is. Oh no, she sees a rival horning in on her territory, scenting it, you might say. Anyway, Zoe Ellis must be destroyed. In April of 2018, Kane's publisher, Blushing Books, sends DMC...
I'm just trying to get to the legal eagle part, but I don't want to skip ahead because I want there to be enough context.
Takedown notices to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Kobo, and iTunes. Blushing claims that Crave to Conquer did a copyright infringement by lifting multiple plot points from Born to be Bound, and that while Kane did not invent Omegaverse...
Wait, we have to go back.
Takedown notices to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Kobo, and iTunes.
So TLDR, I forget what the first lady's name is. I immediately forgot what the lady's name is. But some lady writes a book about these wolves or something that like fuck. in the Omega verse universe, but they're also like people or something. I don't know. I think it's like a furry thing. Okay. And then this other lady writes another book that is very heavily inspired by the first lady's book. Okay. Lady 2 gets sued by Lady 1. Lady 1 says, "You've stolen too many parts of my book. Yes, you have different characters. Yes, maybe the plot is a little bit different, but at the end of the day, you've taken so much of what I made and stolen it." Okay. And that's her grounds for filing DMCA takedowns, and then I believe eventually a lawsuit. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Respectively, alleging misuse of the DMCA takedown notices. In 2019, Blushing Books settled, releasing a statement stating that there had been no plagiarism and that DMCAs were invalid. The second lawsuit against Addison Kane remained. As of August 2020, 3 of Zoe Ellis's 4 claims brought to her publisher, Quill Inc. Books, have been dismissed with prejudice. 4th claim, intentional DMCA misrepresentation, was dismissed for lack of prosecution. Yeah, it's Quill Inc. who went bankrupt. Yeah. All of that. Here, we'll watch the legal section and then I'll summarize because I know, yeah.
Blushing claims that Crave to Conquer did a copyright infringement by lifting multiple plot points from Born to be Bound, and that while Kane did not invent Omegaverse, she did invent Het Omegaverse, which...
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Anyway, DMCA takedown notices. We hear a lot about them, but few know how they actually work or what they are supposed to do. Maybe we could get a lawyer to explain it. Real phone call happening.
Hello? Hey, Lindsay, what's up?
Hey, Devin of Legal Eagle, have you heard about this Omegaverse
His name is Devin.
lawsuits that are happening?
Yeah, I know a fair amount about copyright law, but I don't know anything about wolf pornography.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA, was a law that was written in the very early days of the internet to decide who would be liable for hosting copyright infringing material. It would be easy to imagine a world where a website was responsible for the content that its users uploaded. You can imagine that if a user uploaded some copyright infringing material, that the rights holders could go after the platform for damages. And in that world, it would be way easier to get damages from the website or platform instead of the random user who uploaded it. The problem is that if that were the case, then no one would host a website that allowed users to upload material because they would always be at the mercy of all of these copyright suits. So Congress decided, in their infinite wisdom in the mid-90s, that it made sense to give a way for platforms to have immunity from these copyright infringement lawsuits. Section 512 of the DMCA actually gives platforms a safe harbor so that they're not responsible for the content that their users upload if it's infringing of copyright. But in able to receive that safe harbor, they actually have to do certain requirements. The main requirement is that if a website or platform receives a notice, a DMCA notice, that some content that they're hosting infringes of someone's copyright, then they have to take that down. That's called a DMCA notice. On the other hand, a user who believes that this DMCA takedown notice was given in error can issue what's called a DMCA counter notice and get the content put back up. So generally speaking, when a platform like YouTube, let's say, receives a proper DMCA takedown notice notifying them that some material infringes on someone's copyright, and they take that material down, then the DMCA gives them a safe harbor and prevents YouTube
Dude, I stand by my statement that Legal, he just has like the face and the voice and the look of someone that could play a really good villain. If he was in a show, he would play the best villain. Really? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah. He's already a lawyer. Well, but being like a fucking prosecutor is very different from being like a public defender. Those are very different. One of those are like actually kind of shit. Public defenders are fucking the best human beings on the planet, but yeah. I don't know if he is a public defender or he's ever done public defending work or before. But he just got that face. He's got like that face that he could be such a good villain. I think also it's the hair as well. Like he looks so polished, and there's something about someone that looks so polished that makes them look like they would play a really good like CEO type of villain. You know what I mean? You feel me? Yeah, like some sunglasses, maybe a big scar. Think about like maybe a cat in his lap or something. You know? Anyways. Anyways, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Specifically from being sued for copyright infringement. Now, in exchange, copyright holders no longer have to go to court to get things taken down. They just need to send a form. So in a way, it can avoid a whole bunch of litigation costs when some user uploads some content that's not theirs to upload in the first place.
Yeah, his name would be not Legal Eagle, Legal Evil. He would be Lawful Evil. Alignment.
So a DMCA takedown notice is a party claiming that a platform is hosting
Evil
some
Eagle.
content that's illegally infringing on copyright. And you can see how powerful this tool could be in the wrong hands, that you can take down almost any website or video that's on the internet so long as you make a DMCA claim, which is why the DMCA requires you to have a good faith basis.
Okay, yes.
Copyright infringement. Better Lindsay DMCA than can claim, but platforms for
Okay.
without doing an independent analysis, because there's no reason for them to do any kind of independent analysis. So this is a really complicated area of the law, but that is DMCA liability in a nutshell. I cannot believe I just talked about Wolf for 5.
So Blushing Books issues
All right, great, perfect, wonderful. TLDR, very short TLDR. There's like these authors that write smut, erotica. And in this specific, you know how there's like vampire erotica? After Twilight, there was like so much. There were so many authors writing vampire erotica. It was just everywhere. For some reason, also, one of the erotica genres that took off was like this like wolf fucking thing, like this wolf Omegaverse alpha wolf thing. I don't know. Okay, I'm concerned, whatever. And this lady Addison was like one of the first women to like monetize and go from writing just like some fan fiction online to actually making a book, like an erotica piece of work. And then this lady Zoe comes along and also writes a book and also is trying to get it published and sell it. But her book is very similar to her book. They're very similar. And Addison gets really mad and she's like, I'm going to fucking sue you. I'm going to DMCA you and then I'm going to sue you. And so she does. Now, I think she lost the lawsuit, or at the very least it was dropped. But that was because I think it was basically determined, no, Zoe did not copy you. Both of you are writing this wolf fucking shit universe. This universe existed before either of you started writing books. There's like tens and like thousands and thousands of fucking fan fictions on this shit. You guys just took that and decided you wanted to monetize it, right? However, in the instance where maybe there wasn't that, Omegaverse never existed, and there was no Omegaverse fan fiction. There was no gay wolves anywhere on the internet. And this lady popularized it, and suddenly everybody was so interested in like furry wolf stuff, gay wolves. And then Zoe wrote her book. She probably would have had a case, right? She probably would have actually had a case against her. So all of this, to go back to Palworld for a second, because there were people being like, Nintendo's not going to sue them. It's different. It's just animals. Nintendo has a lot of money and they can offer really fucking good lawyers, okay? And a really good lawyer. Dude, look no further than fucking O.J. Simpson, dude, all right? a good lawyer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because they've got like fucking hundreds of paralegals reading copyright law to find even one instance where something similar has happened so that they can win their lawsuit, right? The thing is, the Pokemon universe, I feel like I don't know that when I see this stuff, I don't think that I don't know if these existed before. Like if there was a huge fandom for like Pokemon type of creatures prior to Nintendo. I feel like Nintendo really popularized this. And they're kind of riding Nintendo's popularity. Digimon? That is true. Let's see. Okay. Digimon looks very different, to be fair, though. The difference between, like, I feel like the Digimon and the, and Pokemon, I feel like they look very different. Right? Whereas I feel like the Palworld ones look very fucking similar to these ones. They look really similar. Dragon Quest is where Pokemon copied from. Okay, and Dragon Quest maybe could have sued Nintendo, but they didn't. So talking about it doesn't matter. So yeah, the question would be about whether or not, I guess, Palworld could argue that anthropomorphizing these creatures and having them fight for you or whatever has existed before Pokemon, and people, when they see them, they don't think of Pokemon, and they don't think that Pokemon is the thing that popularized this type of gaming genre, right? You know, that would be the question. It's 50-50, to be clear. I don't know. Don't you think they would have been sued by now? So what I said earlier was that the only reason why I'm talking about this is because the game actually sold a lot of fucking copies. Sales hit 4 million. 5th highest concurrent stream players ever. Nintendo isn't going to sue someone who's drawing some fucking Pokemon in their free time. Maybe they'll take down your work or they'll DMCA you or something, maybe. But they're not gonna sue like an indie developer that made a game that sold 2 copies. Developers that sold this much? I think they're pretty damn litigious. Listen, okay, I don't know how to explain this. Corporations only care about money. If it's gonna cost more money to sue you than it will be to like regain the losses, they're not gonna fucking do it. Why would they pay millions for lawyers to sue you and get back $20 in damages? That's silly. Anyways. Again, not to say that it's never happened. I'm saying that they have a lot more of a reason to sue them now. A lot more of a reason to sue them now that the game actually made this much money. All right? I'm not saying it's never happened. Nintendo's never sued anyone, ever. Nintendo's never sued even one little guy ever. That's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm saying they just have a lot more incentive to do it now. So anyways. Pokemon would never make a Venusmon or similar. Palworld should have made the animals become hot women. Yeah. It's also not even just about the catching monsters to fight thing. It's just about everything else besides the gun part is Pokemon stylistically. Yeah. So from my understanding, okay, the game is actually gameplay wise, it's way more of a rip of Ark than it is Pokemon. Stylistically, however, it definitely is taking inspiration from the Pokemon universe. And sometimes that's enough. You can sue off of stylistic inspiration, we'll say. I fucking hated Ark. I tried to get into it multiple times and it was always boring for me. So, and I was never really a Pokemon girly growing up. So the chance that I get invested in Palworld is low, but not zero. So someone in chat said it's $60. The devs of Palworld currently have a game in development right now that looks exactly like a ripoff of Hollow Knight. Oh no. It's not, it's $30. Oh. Oh. Okay. It would most likely come from Game Freak. Yeah, sure. Yeah. You get the idea though. All right. Anyways, I just think it's silly when people are like, they're not going to sue them because it's too different. It's like, you do not know the type of legal fuckery that you can do to sue someone. All right. You do not know. Even if the gameplay is different completely, you can still sue off of stylistic differences. You know? They'll definitely sue after seeing this mod. Palworld has a Pokemon mod.
Palworld is already out, and it is an overhaul, converting everything into Pokemon. Everything from the playable character being Ash, from his friends Brock and Misty, to even all the Pokemon that inhabit the world. And even the first boss fight is Jessie from Team Rocket. If you want to check out this mod pack for yourselves, the full video will be on my channel tomorrow. Did you know Palworld already has Pokemon? That's right.
Misty with a gun. Yeah. 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 Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So anyways, whoever made that mod is Dunzo for sure. Yeah, 07 to the person who made this mod. Oh, God. Anyways, someone was also talking about parody laws. The one thing, though, with parody laws is that it has to be obvious to everyone that it's parody, or that rather a reasonable person playing that game does not think it's an original piece of work, but rather that it is a parody. I would say that most people playing Palworld don't think that it's a parody. They think that it's its own game. And they're like, yeah, the game is different enough from all these other things that I'm enjoying Palworld as a game. I don't think this would fall under the rule of parody. It has to be very, very obvious to a reasonable person that it's a parody. So anyways, everyone is literally calling it Pokemon with guns. It's not parody, and it's also not transformative enough to become considered distinct at a glance. I think the art style is similar enough that it's possible. Also, the developers themselves have said that they didn't mean to market it as Pokemon with guns, so take that as you will. Oh, fuck. Them saying that publicly basically I wouldn't be surprised if that, like, nails the coffin in for it not being parody. Oopsie. Well, no, lawyers didn't argue that Fox News was parody. They argued that it was entertainment, not news. That's different. SNL would be parody. Anyways, who knows? Who knows what'll happen? Who knows what? This just goes back to the earlier conversation that we were having. Don't be 100% sure in your conviction. I think it's a total coin flip on whether or not Nintendo sues and whether or not they win. Could go either way. I think it's really funny because I'm not invested. I don't even think IP is legit as an idea. Once upon a time, I used to think like you. And then my Marxist law professor showed me how much of a fucking idiot I was for saying that. And he was like, oh, really? You don't think IP should exist? Really? Okay, so if you wrote a book about a traveler with 10 arms who travels the world to find a cure to get rid of the 10 arms, and then you make like $10,000 off that, and then somebody else like almost the exact same plot, and then they make millions, you shouldn't be able to sue them. That's what you're saying? Everybody, they even tell you to your face, yeah, I copied your shit. Yeah, I made a lot of money off your idea. Yeah, I didn't put in any effort. Of course not. Why would I make my own original shit when your shit was good? I just made it better, and then I actually got to make millions off of it. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do anything. Yeah. We're nowhere near a socialist universe, though. You know what I mean? I feel like if you say that IP shouldn't exist or like IP is a busted concept in the first place, I think you always have to say as well, all this other stuff. We are so far from that. You know what I mean? So far from that. As long as like money exists, I don't even know if a socialist society would fix that. Maybe a communist society, because you would have to have a moneyless society for that to no longer be a problem, I think. Because even the idea of someone stealing your work and it being more successful than you or like your stuff is good enough to make people mad. Even if you, like, let's say socialist universe, everyone has healthcare, food, water, everyone has all their necessities taken care of. Money is not an issue, right? No, money is no longer an issue. But somebody else steals your idea. They tell you they stole your idea. And everybody's so excited about their work, but not yours. You'd be upset that someone stole your idea, even if there's no profit motivation, right? Because they're basically stealing your labor. Exactly. Yeah. Now, of course, that is not to say, which is what some people are saying and trying to explain to me, but I promise you, I've already read on this. Much like other things in the law, much like a lot of other shit in our legal system, it has been lobbied to shit and destroyed by massive corporations to the point where it doesn't actually benefit the people it was supposed to benefit, and now it only benefits the massive corporations. But I just think it's silly when people are like, yeah, we need to get rid of it today. We need to get rid of IP today. It's like, I don't think you know how this works, sir. Sir, this is a Wendy. Sir. Is anyone saying that? You would be surprised. You would be surprised. I'm almost certain that I saw people saying it today. Patents should, though, no. I mean, at the very least, any patents related to like healthcare should be removed immediately. I think that the government could potentially subsidize it to, like, if we're talking, it's still existing in a capitalist universe or whatever, I think that maybe if you create some life-saving thing, you should get some reward from, but I think that that should be government distributed, right? I don't think that that should be like via means of, or like by the means of you not being allowed to prevent anyone else from creating that. You know? So maybe some system where the government says, hey, if you had gotten a 2-year patent on this, you would have made like this many millions of dollars. We will supplement that. There's no such thing as patents anymore. Not all research is publicly funded. There are a lot of companies that actually, this is another misconception, but there's actually a lot, to be clear, there's a lot of stuff we get that is publicly funded, okay? A lot. And I'm not denying that that's true. There's also a lot of stuff that we got specifically because of corporations and profit motivations. Not everything. Okay. But. And you want people to, no matter what, you want people to, you want your societies to be invested in creating new things or whatever, right? Useful new things. I see people saying most medical research is publicly funded. Most research is publicly funded. Let's look it up. U.S. Medical research, R&D, public versus private sector. Also, anyone who's listing off individual examples and being like, well, the government funded this one thing and this other thing. Okay, that doesn't, what? Huh? What? It's like this equivalent of me saying, hey, most violent crimes are committed by men. And then you being like, well, I know a guy who is not violent. It's like, okay. All right. Sure. I didn't deny that. This is NIH. This is the first thing that comes up. This is the first link. So we're just going to look at it together. National Institute of Health funds vital basic academic research. Globally, it's the private sector driving applied research and development of new medications. Private companies and investors spend 5 times what the U.S. federal government does every year on basic medical research. And this is information coming from the National Institute of Health and from Evaluate Pharma. So I don't know who was saying that it's majority publicly funded, but not according to Google. Google seems to suggest that at least 2/3 of it is funded by the private sector. So now we can talk about whether or not the funding goes to the right place and whether or not the funding going into private sectors is actually being spent in a worthwhile manner, right? However, why was that comparing global funding versus just U.S. funding? No, it wasn't. Here's another one. The relative contributions of NIH and private sector funding. And then it said, one second. 67%. It says in a 2019 report, Research America indicated that in 2016, the private sector funded 67% of total U.S. medical health and R&D. Okay. So it's just, can we talk about Kapoor's Vanta Black and all of this? Oh God, I love that story. I love that story. I love that story. So anyway, I don't remember who said it, but someone in chat said it. They were like, it's majority publicly funded. That's just by definition, that's not true. If you want to argue how much of it is useful, how much of the funding that's coming from the government is useful versus how much of the private sector funding was useful, that's a completely different conversation, and one that I would be very excited to delve into or whatever, because that would be interesting, right? Because corporations are not good at spending money, right? They're spending money to maximize profits, not to maximize the total benefit, right? But it's hard to say how much of the government funding comes with attachments. If the government funding comes with the attachment of, you have to use this towards cancer research, that is infinitely more valuable than a company using their money to make a new, slightly different type of insulin for triple the price, right? That statement, however, still doesn't disprove the original statement. So that's an interesting conversation, right? That might be, but I also, someone would have to find a source showing that most of this government funding, this 22%, most of this government funding actually comes with stipulations. Does it come with stipulations, or do they get just subsidies for being in the market? Right? COVID is a whole different issue. COVID is like a shit show. Nothing in COVID should have been fucking patented. Just on the principle that it was a fucking pandemic and the scale of the issue was so large, innately that should not have been patented, because that is such an extreme problem for the entire globe and all of humanity that it's just one of those things that should not be patented, you know?